Digital fashion emerged in the 1970s as data gathering was used to understand the financial landscape of brands. 10 years later, the fashion industry started experimenting with digital design and manufacturing. Prints started to be computerized, and changes began to improve fashion's efficiency and profit-driven goals. And in the 90s and 2000s, digital design emerged to make creative design way better. And now we have developments like digital softwares, artificial intelligence, and hardwares that have created the fashion that we know and maybe love today. So in today's video, I will break down what digital fashion is, whether it's the solution to fast fashion or if it's just another distraction. And if you're new here, I'm Elle and welcome to my ethical fashion YouTube channel where I make videos every week. So feel free to subscribe and turn on your post notifications. Okay, so now let's get right into it. So the digitalization of fashion emerged from our exposure and improvements in technology. This developing digital intelligence is definitely a iterative process that has required shifts in our mindsets. But it first emerged in the Industrial Revolution during the mid-18th century with the automation of the textile industry thanks to the emergence of the spinning jenny. This is a machine that spins multiple spindles at once with its water frame, allowing for the continuous and automated spinning of yarn. And the water frame was intended to mass produce clothing, and given it was powered by a water wheel that could not be housed in homes, it really revolutionized the previous tradition of home yarn spinning and moved textile production practices away from domestic settings. And with the second industrial revolution from the late 19th century to the early 20th century, it brought even more labor and speed to the distribution of goods, especially with the use of railroads to transport raw materials like cotton and finished products. This created a new way of consuming clothing because shops emerged all over town. So you no longer needed to make clothing at home because instead you could buy clothing that you desired at a local store. So these mechanical changes and innovations really gave rise to our current fast fashion industry. And if you don't know what fast fashion is, it's basically when resource-intensive textiles are cut into garments in a very large quantity to provide quick microtrends to consumers across the globe. And now digital innovations have given rise to what is known as the digital revolution, aka Industry 4.0, or the fourth phase of the Industrial Revolution. And it's been explained as the era of new digital technologies, new enterprises, and new approaches that are transforming creativity, development, production, and consumption. And it inherently challenges the status quo of how fashion is operating, given it is moving us to 3D fashion versus our current material version, also known as 2D fashion. Yet digital fashion is relatively new since it just started in the late 20th century, but has continued to spread into the 21st century given the increasing use of computers and the internet and mobile phones that really have connected us across the globe like never before. So to further understand how digital fashion functions, we need to understand that technology interacts and intersects with digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. So first, digitization is when we create the digital representation of a physical object or attribute. Digitalization, on their hand, refers to enabling or improving processes by leveraging digital technologies and digitized data. But we also have digital transformation, which is when a business's transformation is enabled by digitalization. And this can be done by having a digital strategy for technology to improve business performance, whether that means creating new products or reimagining current processes. It could even mean creating new competitive advantages with technology and tactics to achieve these changes. But digital fashion on a large scale really requires an informed digital mindset focused on curiosity, creativity, collaboration, and communication. It also calls for us to ask questions about the fashion industry's accepted norms and the relationships that we have with the current business models, which have been the same for the last 30 years. So in a lot of ways, the digital revolution is analyzing fast fashion, its wasteful economic model, and how it is the second biggest polluting industry on the planet. And we can't forget we will need as many people as we can to adopt a digital mindset to make change happen, where our set of attitudes and behaviors build a collective digital strategy. And developing a digital strategy will mean collaborating between organizations, working together, sharing data, and developing digital products to lay the foundation for digital adoption. Now, digital adoption is when we accept, integrate, and use new technologies and society. So digital transformation of the fashion fashion industry must build on digital synergy where various digital and artificial intelligence components work together seamlessly. And artificial intelligence, or AI, will play a huge part in this since it is the simulation of human intelligence and machines that are programmed to think like humans and mimic our actions. A basic example of how AI is being used in fashion is chatbots or smart assistants. So in the future, AI chatbots could be used more and more by online retailers for customer service to help us find what we're looking for and to provide more assistance, possibly in the form of avatars as well in the future. But I do have to say that if done right, we can really arrive at new realms of the metaverse where we can expand the tangible concept of what fast fashion can mean and look like. And it will be a long road ahead, okay? And I really hope that we move towards digital empowerment in the process, which is basically a term to describe how we can approach technology to enable people and communities to be active participants in a networked society. But we would need to embed a digital approach in global education as early as possible to make sure we have digital mindsets from the get-go. And I can't help to think about Generation Alpha, those born between 2010 and 2024, who are set to be the first generation of digital natives, those basically who have been immersed in the digital world since their birth. And I'm sure that they will be leading the future of AI and digital technology that is way beyond our wildest imagination right now, because no matter what, technology is unavoidable to escape from, and I'm sure artificial intelligence will continue to progress. But that doesn't mean that the fashion industry that we end up building has to be inequitable. Despite third world countries lagging in digital evolution because of their limited resources, they often lack stable electricity, basic supplies, and digital technology. But even with this digital divide and power divide, it really has created digital inequity where we basically need to try to get every country to have digital access to build a more inclusive and accessible fashion industry. So basically, a just and ethical fashion future will mean fighting against digital exclusion and digital inequity where there is adequate access to technological resource by every country in this world. And I think this is needed because I don't think it's right for societies to not have the tools they need to keep up with progress, especially when it comes with digital literacy and digital skills. And we cannot leave others behind for the sake of our own progress. So digital empowerment is really important to social justice. This work is already needed because, again, we're more entrenched in technology than ever before. So as sustainable fashion leaders and advocates, we really need to build digital intelligence and digital rights as part of our work of a new fashion era that we're rapidly entering into. And this also means addressing our current college level fashion education that really does need mass reform. Digital skill sets like digital design for many graduates in fashion is massively lacking. This is because mainstream college fashion education has not fully embraced digital technology, especially in a collaborative way. However, there is a good chance most of these graduates are digitally intelligent, whereas the upcoming younger students in the fashion industry will likely be at the forefront of shifting the envisioning and creating of a new digital fashion industry. And believe me when I say that change is coming, okay? It is really needed amid fast fashion chaos. Like, traditional fashion design literally takes 6 iterations of the same garment to make the final piece. And it results in a lot of production time and textile waste to create, again, one piece. And in many cases, samples travel from the design studio to the sample room or factory, back and forth to different countries, and this process just takes a lot of environmental waste and it creates such a big carbon footprint. Digital design can really change all of that, especially with 3D design softwares where designers can design and develop the idea several times without having to send any physical samples in the process. Instead, the design, the digital asset, would be sent easily via the internet, and instead of waiting for weeks for it to arrive, it would just simply be like, hey, did you get the thing I sent you over the internet? So it could really be such a much more collaborative and open way of fashion design and really help open up communication in such a better way than ever before. Yet digital fashion is still in its infancy, but it's developing fast. It's coming. More designers are learning how to work creatively with 3D prototype softwares and are pushing their peers to use it so it becomes a little bit more normalized on a mass scale. And again, the benefits are there. It helps open up communication throughout the supply chain. The designing and fitting is more straightforward forward and could result in a lot less textile waste. However, we do need more accountability measures so that we don't end up overproducing and overconsuming as we see more efficient processes of clothing production. So now that we have that under our belt, to end the video, let's explore the concrete tools and workflows that are needed for us to approach digital fashion. Digital fashion leaders are combining innovative concepts, processes, and hardwares and softwares like Ordre, Vor, Hatch, M/XR, and Third. And the luxury wholesale ecosystem Ordre have even created a 360-degree online showroom built on their ORB scanning technology, which is an image capturing mobile technology software. And some brands have even gone on to create digital dressing rooms where you can virtually try on clothing with an avatar or by uploading an image of yourself. And there's even smart mirrors or racks that can access your style to customize 3D garments that can really fit your exact measurements. But I've also seen brands create products and their digital twin. And this is the digital representation of a product. And I believe this really will open up new forms of fashion that we've really never experienced before. So to help you visualize what a digital twin is, basically imagine digital fashion in a video game. Think of your favorite video game outfit, right? Now imagine owning both the digital and the physical version of that outfit. And the cool thing is that brands like Balenciaga have already launched virtual fashion collections for video games, while Gucci has set items on Sims. And I really hope that this move can help us, get away from fast fashion that is only designed to last a couple weeks and then tossed in the dumpster. Also, can you imagine if every fast fashion piece had its digital twin? I really would love us to expect that from fast fashion so that we not only keep the physical version but the digital version as long as the internet exists. And I hope this is something that we do because it would imply its longevity, meaning that the physical item would and should be preserved versus being thrown away. And I think would really help us collect more data and more information on a collective level on what fast fashion brands are doing. However, this shift really raises questions about accessibility, equity, and environmental responsibility in midst of the resources needed to advance technology, and to ensure it does not perpetuate the inequities of the traditional fashion industry. Instead, it should force us to move towards democratization of fashion, empowering designers from diverse backgrounds, providing fair access to technology, and prioritizing ethical practices. It's definitely exciting, but we really need to hold the responsibility to shape it into an equitable fashion industry that is trying to move towards sustainable fashion. So let me know your thoughts on digital fashion in the comments below. Until the next time, peace and love.